You ever have one of those moments where you think, no way this is happening to me? This is the kind of mess you see in movies or read about online, but me? Nah. Well, buckle up. I'm about to walk you through the story of how owning my dream lake turned into the strangest, pettiest, most exhausting neighborhood war you could imagine. And if you're thinking, oh, come on, it's just a lake, yeah, I thought so too. Until the day I realized when something is beautiful enough, people will try just about anything to make it theirs, even if it means waging war over it. So there I was maybe 3 years ago, standing on this patch of land at dawn mist, rolling over the water like some scene out of a painting. If you've ever watched the world wake up in dead silence, no traffic, no voices, just birds somewhere in the distance, you know the feeling. It was like time stopped. For a second I wondered if I'd stumbled into someone else's paradise by mistake. But nope, this was mine. 100 acres of lake fed by springs, completely isolated. No river, no creek, not even a trickle running in or out. Just mine. And when I say mine, I mean it. I'm not new to the game. I spent a decade as a federal attorney. Land disputes, water rights, all that jazz. So when I bought this place, I made damn sure there were no loopholes. No neighbor could claim an inch. No random fisherman could sneak through. I even checked the oldest surveys and made sure the whole lake, including the bed and every inch of shore, belonged to me on paper, in reality, and everywhere in between. I moved in, set up my little ranch house, the kind with a creaky porch and Wi-Fi that barely lets you check your email. And let me tell you, for a year it was heaven. Quiet. Nobody around. Sometimes I went whole weeks without seeing another person. That's how I like it. But nothing that good stays untouched for long, does it? Out of nowhere. Cedar View. Landing starts popping up to the north, HOA houses, bright white fences, all these little perfect lawns. They're shiny new homes, the kind with 3-car garages and matching mailboxes, inched closer to the edge of my lake with every week. Not over the line, not quite, but close enough that you could smell the aftershave from their open houses. At first I thought, hey, no big deal. Let the yuppies have their slice of country living. I was hauling lumber one Saturday trying to build a dock when this family comes up, Dad, Mom, 2 kids, faces shiny with hope. They asked real nice if they could fish for a bit. I looked at those kids, big eyes, all polite, and figured, all right. I laid down some rules. Daytime only, no motors, pick up your trash, and don't act like you're at Mardi Gras. They nodded, promised, and followed every rule. But you know how it goes. Word spreads. Hey, the lake guy's chill, he'll let you on if you ask. More families showed up, asked, got the speech played nice. I started hearing laughter over the water, the splash of a cannonball here and there. Honestly, it made the place feel alive. For a while it was good. I even built a dock on my side and waved when I saw people on the far bank. Then the cracks started to show. One night I found a crushed beer can stuffed under a bush. Couple days later, rappers bobbing along the reeds. Then one weekend there's music, not quiet radio, but some kid's Bluetooth speaker blasting like it's spring break. I go to check, find a group of teens and 2 trucks sunk halfway into my grass tires tearing up the shoreline. I asked who they were. Some guy shrugs, says they're friends of the Parkers. It's chill, man, the Parkers said, it's fine. I never gave out lake rights to friends of residents. But the rules had started slipping like water under a leaky boat. So I go to the Parkers, calm, friendly, and they apologize. But the dad says, we pay HOA dues. You should be glad we're giving your lake such positive exposure. That one stuck with me, your lake, like they were waiting for me to finally admit it belonged to all of us. Not legally, but spiritually, I guess. Cute. I put up more signs. Private property, no trespassing. Even got a camera set up just in case. But more people came. Coolers, kayaks, cookouts. I started finding burned wood, sticky marshmallow messes, all left for me to clean up in the morning. Still, I held back. I figured people just don't realize how easily peace gets ruined. The last straw, I stepped out one morning and my dock was scraped up, big ugly gashes, probably from some boat. No note, no. Sorry, just damage and a warm beer left like a frat boy calling card. That's when I started typing up a real policy. Not threats, just rules in black and white. Of course, that didn't fix anything. Memorial Day, 3rd summer after I moved in, I wake up to bass so loud my windows rattle. Look out, there's a full party, 15 people, a Jeep, half in the lake, music blaring, grill smoking, and some bright blue canopy that actually said Cedar View Lake Bash. Not subtle. I walk over, start filming. Some lady in a neon bikini waves, says, "Come join us. It's your lake, right? I unplug the speaker. The grill guy, bare belly out, tries to play nice, says, "We're just chilling, man. You always said it was cool." I tell them to leave point at the sign behind him. They grumble, but eventually they go. I pick up their trash, beer bottles, diapers, you name it, and that night I send a formal letter to the HOA board. Permissions revoked. Photos attached, legal citations included. No more handshakes. 3 days later, the HOA president guy named Randall Crane, king of the khaki pants, emails me. He says in the most condescending way possible, Cedar View was marketed as a luxury waterfront community and residents expect continued access. Your escalation fencing signage cameras undermines the spirit of the neighborhood. We'll explore legal avenues if you don't reconsider. Restore traditional access. That's the phrase. Like they've been plundering my lake since the pioneers. Give me a break. So I build a higher fence. Steel mesh concrete posts, cameras, real ones, the kind that catch plates and faces. And then came the payback. Someone spray paints selfish on my signs, knocks down fence posts. I find a trail of cigarette butts leading from their side down to my water. The cameras catch enough to ID people, but I don't call the cops yet. I try to talk to Randall. He refuses, says, "Talk to our lawyer." And then a community newsletter appears in my mailbox, reclaiming our lake. Quotes about anguished children and destroyed neighborhood harmony. A blurry photo of my fence with a caption, "This wall divides more than property. It divides hearts. You ever laugh so hard you almost spit your coffee?" That was me. I send a final notarized letter. No more informal permissions. Trespassing will be prosecuted. Everything will be documented. For a while it gets quiet. No laughter, no splashes, just wind and cicadas. But I know better. That kind of silence is just the sound of someone scheming. October. A courier drops a thick manila envelope at my door. Civil lawsuit filed by Cedar View HOA. Randall's going for it, says my fencing signs and cameras violate community expectations and the emotional rights of residents to interact with their natural environment. Emotional rights. They even quote a 1970s memo as if it's law, claim, "I'm hurting property values and stealing historic use, 3 years of treating my lake like a tailgate party." You know what I did? I poured a glass of rye, sat on my porch, and watched my lake. Then I started gathering deeds, surveys, photos, emails, video, everything. Even called up contractors who'd cleaned up after Cedar View parties. One had photos of beer cans stacked higher than his knees. Then I filed a public records request for Cedar View's original development plans. And surprise, nowhere did it guarantee access to the lake. Their sales brochures were just glossy lies. Randall cranked up the pressure, sent letters, whipped up Facebook drama, rich loner, hoarding nature, all that noise. I put together a plain English legal explainer, maps, zoning citations, sent it to every resident I could find. I called it "Who Really Owns the Lake?" The backlash was instant, and then nothing. Just a vacuum. The judge, tough woman, property law background, no patience for HOA drama, calls us in for the hearing. Randall tries to argue community rights. The judge asks how many years of historic use we're talking about. He says 3. She almost laughs. Then she asks me for documentation. I hand her everything. She flips through, actually laughs at the newsletter about divided hearts, turns to Randall. "You kept accessing the lake after permission was revoked." He starts to talk about feelings. She cuts him off. "I'm interested in facts, not feelings." Then she reads a paragraph about emotional damage from restricted lake interaction and says it sounds like a therapy blog. People laugh. She grants my motion to dismiss and warns the HOA to knock it off or face sanctions. Randall looks like he swallowed a bug, but it wasn't over. 2 weeks later, a mystery SUV parks by my fence. I walk up, the guy flashes a badge too fast for me to read, says he's doing a property inspection. Won't say who sent him. I ask for an agency, he peels out. Then there's a drone buzzing over my dock, and one of my cameras gets smashed by a rock from the HOA side. My contractor Mason gets blocked by some fake official claiming he needs a special permit. No such thing exists. I document everything, email the HOA board. Interference and harassment cease immediately, or we go back to court. My turn this time. No response. Then one day a note in my mailbox. "Keep your fence. Lose your peace. Real mature." So I lawyer up, file a new claim for harassment, interference, defamation. And then twist time, I get an anonymous letter from a Cedar View resident apologizing with a scanned newsletter where the tones changed. Less bravado, more ongoing legal complexities. Meanwhile, someone dumps a pile of dead fish at my fence. I record bag, add it to my growing pile of evidence. Second hearing, and this time I'm the one dragging Randall and the HOA into court. The judge is even less amused. Randall's new lawyer argues I'm escalating, not them. I show the judge drone footage, vehicles parked outside, dead fish, late-night trespassing, nasty posts online. The kicker. An affidavit from a resigned board member saying Randall ordered community action to make the lake owner uncomfortable, even spent HOA money on surveillance. Judge Harper is not having it. She grants my injunction, bars the HOA from contacting me, and refers them for harassment review by the state. Someone actually gasps in court. Randall turns pale, and outside the air smells like, well, justice. Within days, Cedar View is falling apart. Board members resign. Houses go up for sale. I double down, install a monster fence, cameras, even buy a buffer strip of land to push their closest house even farther back. Then a local paper runs a story, the lake that fought back. Judge Harper's line, "You don't get to vote on someone else's deed," goes viral. After that, the HOA collapses. Legal fees, bad press, resignations, insurance settles for over $200,000. Randall resigns in disgrace. I spend some of the payout on more upgrades, donate a bit, use the rest to write a new legal guide protecting private land from public delusion. It sells better than I'd hoped. And the lake, it's quiet again. No more trash, no more parties, just birds and the breeze and water lapping at the shore. People ask if I'd ever sell, and I laugh. Not for all the HOA dues in the world, and that's that. You know, I learned something ugly but important through all this. People will invent any excuse. History, community, the spirit of the neighborhood, just to get what they want. Sometimes they'll call it justice, sometimes tradition. But at the end of the day, there are lines you don't cross. If you do well, don't be surprised if you find yourself face to face with someone who knows exactly how to fight back and isn't afraid to do it. So let me throw this back to you. Was I right to go all the way, or did I go too far? When is holding your ground just stubbornness, and when is it justice? I'm betting some of you have your own stories. So tell me, where do you draw the line?